This Business Hub's interview is brought to you by the South African Local Government Association in conjunction with SA Economy.
Wallace is a municipality in the very pretty area of the Overberg, and joining me in the studio to talk us through any business hub activities are Visagie and Stan Wallace from the Wallace municipality. Good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Stan, first question to you. On your website it says that you are becoming a competitive developmental local authority. What does that actually mean?
I think it came from a strategic session we had right at the beginning when we took over as an administration, and it was realized that being a very poor area where we are battling with the problem of financial viability, like most municipalities, smaller municipalities, that we had to start addressing the whole issue of local economic development. At that point, I think we were basically a welfare type of municipality, very reactive, very short term, focusing on the symptoms rather than the causes. And we realized that if we could, the one thing we had to do to improve our financial viability was to expand our rate space, and that we had to do through local economic development. And also at the same time address the whole issue of unemployment and all the social implications of unemployment and poverty. So we have been moving away from a welfare type of municipality towards becoming a more developmental orientated type of municipality, where the emphasis has been on local economic development as our main strategic objective that we had to achieve.
Before we move on to local economic development with you, Jan, and what opportunities exist around that, Stan, just quickly addressing the issue of a rapidly aging infrastructure and a backlog of service. What are you doing to address this?
It's a matter of like eating an elephant, slice by slice. Our backlog in terms of expansion, infrastructural expansion, bulk services expansion, replacement, is probably in the region of about 450 million rand. Now that's not the type of money which one single municipality have. You've got to find other ways to address it.
Are you going to, and you want to attract investors to
absolutely.
do this?
Investors, developers, residents that can actually afford the rates which we need.
Jan, let's bring you in here. What are you doing to address this?
Well, one of the biggest things is, and Mr. Wallace referred to that, is that the backlog needs to be addressed. But we won't want to pay for it ourselves only, but we would like to get the investors in to pay for their own services that they require at that stage. Taking into consideration that they would not pay for the backlog, that's our responsibility, and that we will do from our side with the existing and then upgrading of that. In terms of local economic development, in terms of business attraction, we've got two big sectors in our area, which is the agricultural sector and then the more tourism-wise sector in our area. And it's a give and take by both of those two sectors in what comes first and what comes next. And they fit in very well together in that sense, in that area.
Why would a business want to come to this area? I know that you mentioned that you've been hosting cycling races there.
Well, it's not only the cycling races, it's very near to Cape Town. There's good infrastructure on our side, roads, our sewage works, purification works, our water networks, electricity-wise. We've got people that's labour skills in the area, stable environment in terms of politics, in terms of our labour relations. There's such a huge amount of things that can happen in that area. It's got so much potential, and we as a community work together as council and the community to work together to get that benefit throughout to people and to the beneficiaries of the businesses themselves.
All right, so you've laid down some incentives. But yes, Dan?
Just on that point, I think when we started off on this whole issue of local economic development, we were asking ourselves that question because if you look at all the other municipalities adjacent to Cape Town, they were all doing pretty well as a economic-wise, or in terms of economic activity. But we were battling. Why? And I think the main reason for that was political stability or instability and the state of the administration in terms of competency, in terms of capacity, in terms of professionalism. So I think that is where we had to become more competitive. it was to focus on those areas, and I think we've achieved that.
All right. If I'm a business in Gauteng, I don't know what kind of business I'd be. I'm going to need you to tell me that. What would I get out of moving my business to the Overberg area?
Well, first of all, is that you would pay to your labourers non-matroop salaries in any case. So in terms of that, there's already an incentive. You would live in a beautiful area, friendly people.
What would I be doing?
Well, you can do anything from agricultural productivity. There's fruit, there's crop that's been grown there, there's unique tourism attractions in the area. There's opportunities in terms of both of those sectors. You can manufacture, light industry. With the LEDI strategy that we've gone through, we've identified for each town a specific model and a specific theme, and most of those will address all of your concerns and your shortcomings that you're not looking at this stage.
All right. Well, it sounds like a welcoming area.
Well, I think the other issue which is very important now, which I think is important to the business people, is obviously the quality of your labour. And that has been a focus area as well, is to develop our local human capital. We've got a college now in Elgin, Grabo, which has been supported by the DBSA as well as the municipality. And the whole idea is to develop the type of skills which industry and business would require in that area.
Stan Wallace and Jan Visagie from the Theewaterskloof municipality, thanks for joining us tonight in studio.
Thanks, Jan.
We'll see you again, same time next week for more Business Hubs. From me, Jane Van Rennen, good night.
This Business Hubs interview is brought to you by the South African Local Government Association in conjunction with South African Economy.